Hey, it's Pastor James, and welcome to this first of the videos for our social media, Facebook, online devotional. It's going to be both on YouTube and Facebook. I encourage you to invite your friends to join us in this open group. We'd love to have a chance for other people to get this opportunity to walk through the life of Jesus and found in the Gospel of Matthew. So make sure you invite other people. You can, down in the notes, you can see how to also find this on YouTube if you like. We're in this online devotional series called Cultivate Image, and we're talking about how to cultivate an image that reflects Jesus Christ, because we get so caught up in the realities of people's expectations of us that we find ourselves sometimes thinking we need to be formed in the image of their expectations. And there's a bit of a trap in that. It's a bit of a bondage that comes with that, but the freeing reality is to be formed into the very image of Jesus. And so we want it through this Lenten season that begins today in Ash Wednesday and goes through Holy Week. We want to look at the life of Jesus as found in the Gospel of Matthew. We're going to be using as a guide along the way a devotional book called Lent for Everyone by Tom Wright. You can buy the book if you want. Make sure you get the version that is focused on the Gospel of Matthew. You can also find it in YouVersion, on the YouVersion app. If you will go to the plans and type in Tom Wright, Lent for Everyone, Gospel of Matthew, you'll find it. You can join us there. Or you can just stick with us in this devotional group. We're going to have different types of posts each week. It's not going to be exactly like the way we did at Christmas, but I think you're going to like the variety, and it's going to be a great experience for you. We begin in this journey through Matthew with actually not a story about Jesus directly, but a story about Jesus before he was born, and it's the birth story from the Gospel of Matthew. So let me read that to you just to remind you of what it is. We're in Matthew chapter 1, beginning in verse 18. And it says, "Now the birth of Jesus Christ took place in this way. When his mother Mary had been betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found to be with child from the Holy Spirit. And her husband Joseph, being a just man and unwilling to put her to shame, resolved to divorce her quietly. But as he considered these things, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, 'Joseph, son of David, do not fear to take Mary as your wife, for that which is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins.' And all this took place to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet. 'Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel,' which means God with us. When Joseph awoke from his sleep, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him. He took his wife, but knew her not, until she had given birth to a son, and he called his name Jesus." It's a fantastic story. It's a story that I imagine if you've been around church much, or at least been one of those who come to church on Christmas, you've heard it. And it's remarkable that God would enter into this world in the person of Jesus. It is the humble beginnings of the God who would come into the world, take on human flesh, and to be among us in order to save us from our sin. But notice how Jesus transforms lives before he even enters into the world as a child that has been born. Before he is born, Joseph is already being changed by this Messiah. You know the cultural story. You know the expectation that Joseph was betrothed, engaged of sorts to Mary, and she comes up pregnant. Now I know that in our context would be a shocking thing, and it was no less shocking for them. And Joseph would have been justified in casting her away, and he'd be justified in doing it in a way that brought great shame upon her. But he didn't even want to do that. But this encounter with Jesus, the Jesus that has not yet entered in the world through birth, is already changing his life. This ordinary guy has become the protector, the nurturer of the Son of God, Jesus. And he's just an ordinary guy. He wasn't somebody who signed up to do this. He wasn't trained for this. He didn't think he had the resources or the gifts or the skills to do this. He was just confronted with Jesus. And there's something about Jesus that is so beautiful, so touching, so powerful, that it transformed his heart and caused him to do this work that pretty much has gone untold. We don't know a lot about Joseph, but we know that he did his job and he cared for his family and he protected the Messiah and was the first person, along with Mary, to usher in the Son of God into the world. What a great story. My question for you to reflect on today and reflect on this season is, do you see Jesus that way? Do you see him in his beauty? Do you see him in his mercy? Do you see him in his love for us? And are you willing to let him transform your heart? And are you willing to let him take you and somebody like me, it's a just ordinary person, and to use us to do something for him? I mean, what might that be? What might be the thing that we're being called to do? God called Joseph, and Joseph came with what he had, and God used Joseph. You have skills, you have gifts. You may not think that any of them line up with what God may be calling you to do. But don't be surprised that God is still able to use you, because that's been God's plan from the beginning. God creates people. God gives them all that they need in order to fulfill his purpose in their life. And that includes you, and that includes me. When you encounter this Jesus, and we're going to be talking about Jesus for the next 40 days, when you encounter him, does he touch your heart? Do you see him in the way that Joseph saw him? Or are you touched by his love and his mercy and the beauty of his life? And will you let him change your heart? I hope that happens for you. I hope your experience with Jesus changes your life. And I hope that the more you meet this Jesus and encounter him, his life, his image becomes a thing that you seek to cultivate in your own life and reflect him, as opposed to all the other competing entities out there that want you to be formed into their image. We hope that the image of Jesus is what compels you the most as you think about what life you want to present to this world. Hope you have a great day. Hope you join us tonight for the Ash Wednesday service at 7 p.m. in the Jeffords Center. It's a moving, meditative, powerful service where we will impose ashes, among other things, other elements of worshiping God. So come join us for that. Look forward to seeing you then.